straight into the roof of the net. Nice one. Straight down the middle. So a good performance from both teams here today.
Hi, welcome to Firstpost. I'm Rupha Ramani. Let's get started. Now, the central contracts released by the Indian Cricket Board seems to have taken the internet by storm. It is after a long time that a board has made sure that insubordination will be dealt with and punished. But that's not the only talking point. Who's been rewarded and who has been promoted? Who else have gone missing? Over in football, this club seems to be doing no wrong, and they're not missing any trick in the book, not when the man helming the affairs is on the ball. What is the secret to Jurgen Klopp and Liverpool's continued success? And guess who's back in the news again? Saudi Arabia shaking things up once more. This time, they're acing a tennis deal. It's grander than you can imagine. Stay on for more, but first, a look at all the headlines in Sports 360. We'll start with football. Cristiano Ronaldo has been suspended for one match. This is for making an alleged offensive gesture during a Saudi Arabia League game. His actions were captured in a video posted online. Ronaldo will also have to pay a fine of $2,666 to Saudi football. Over in the FA Cup, Manchester United beat Nottingham Forest 1-0 in an FA Cup fifth round match. Casemiro scored the only goal of the game in the 89th minute. United is now all set to face Liverpool in the quarterfinals. Japan's women's football team secured their Paris Olympic spot on the 28th of February. They beat North Korea 2-1 at the National Stadium in Tokyo to secure the qualification. Goals from Hana Takahashi and Ayoba Fujino gave the Japanese team a 2-goal lead. This means Japan takes one of the Asia's two spots at the Olympics. Over in Formula One, Red Bull boss Christian Horner has been cleared of all charges of misconduct. He will continue to serve as the team principal at Red Bull. Red Bull's parent company launched a probe earlier this month after a female colleague accused Horner of inappropriate behavior. Beijing will be hosting the World Athletics Championships in 2027. The World Athletics Council picked the city at a meeting in Glasgow. This will be the second time Beijing will be hosting this tournament. The first was in 2015. It's also hosted two editions of the Olympics. And we round off with cricket and the Women's Premier League. UP Warriors beat defending champions Mumbai Indians by 7 wickets. Batting first, Mumbai posted a total of 161 on board. Chasing 162 to win, Warriors' Kiran Navgiri scored a 50 to register her side's first win in 3 games. Now, the central contracts that BCCI, Board of Control for Cricket in India, hand out annually to top cricketers in the country is out, and it's made all the right noises. The biggest story coming out of that was the most distinct one, pertinent message that BCCI was sending to the rest of the players. Cricket in the country, and by that, national duty and domestic structure cannot be ignored. It's of paramount importance. When any cricketer isn't featuring in the Indian senior squad and isn't injured or taking a break that has been agreed upon, he or she will play in the domestic circuit. They could have just left the names of Shreyas, Iyer and Ishan, Kishan out of the contract announcement release, but no, they specifically mentioned these two players to state that they were not even considered this year. Was it harsh, or did they probably already give these cricketers a long enough rope that was just getting a bit too much at the end of the day? Reports say the players were not heeding to what the board wanted them to do. But coming back to the list, it's got everyone interested. There have been a few who have been rewarded, and there have been a few omissions and some sidelined. Some have been demoted as well. I'll break this down for you. First of all, there are 4 grades in the contract setup. Grade A+, that's elite. These cricketers are the cream of the lot, and just the indication of them being in this list means they are the top performing athletes, ones who will be always primarily focused on. There have been no changes in this from last year. Let's get this out of the way. Then there are just 4 athletes in this one: Virat Kohli, Rohit Sharma, Jasprit Bumrah and Ravindra Jadeja. No surprises there. All 4 have a 7 crore contract each. This one, of course, is above the match fees. Then comes Grade A. Grade A has 6 athletes, And this is the next bracket. Then there are a few changes here. The regulars from last year are Ashwin, Mohammad Shami and Hardik Pandya. The additions here are Mohammad Siraj, who's had a good year, KL Rahul, who made a good comeback and hopefully shall redeem himself after the injury break, and most important inclusion, and someone who will be eyeing that A+ category soon, is Shubman Gill. The highlight in this grade has been his presence. He held a lot of promise last year. The poster boy of Indian cricket suddenly experienced a bit of a rough patch in the last few months, but just his diligence and perseverance, getting in there in the last test, ought to have impressed everyone. And let's face it, with the talent that he has, he's here to stay. The exclusions from the list have been that of Akshar Patel and Rishabh Pant. Let's move to grade B. This year has 5 athletes in this category, each earning 3 crores each. The biggest exclusions here, Shreyas Iyer and Cheteshwar Pujara. We have, of course, delved into the Shreyas Iyer saga quite a bit, but what about Pujara? Let's face it, it looks like the board is particularly seeing his way when he comes to the longer format, but they aren't looking towards him. Pujara was keen on renewing his career. His recent exploits in the domestic circuit have been good, but the management doesn't seem to believe so. The biggest inclusion, and a player who has been clearly rewarded for his talents and skill and potential, is someone who has truly worked on his game, his big match temperament and his attitude. Yashasvi Jaiswal, the biggest break for this lad, and the biggest news coming out of this contract announcement. Rishabh Akshar dropped down to the next one, of course, alongside Kuldeep, who has been promoted, rightfully so. Another example of sheer fighting spirit and turning things around, Surya Kumar Yadav also in that list. Moving to grade C, this is crowded with every player getting a crore of each Indian rupees. These are, of course, there are 15 cricketers in here, and some promising talents in there like Sanju Samson, Rinku Singh, Avesh Khan, Tilak Verma, Arshdeep Singh, Washington Sundar. The biggest exclusion from this one, Ishan Kishan, of course, like we've been talking about, Umesh Yadav and Yuzvendra Chahal. That means the board is not looking towards them until, of course, some of them do, or at least one of them do something exceptional. The result says it all then. If you perform consistently and do your bit diligently, you will be rewarded. It's also an indication by the board of who they think are in the scheme of things this year and for whom it may be the end of the road. For some former cricketers, though, have questioned a few of these decisions.
They are talented cricketers, both Shreyas and Ishan, hoping they bounce back and come back stronger. If players like Hardik don't want to play red ball cricket, shouldn't he and others like him participate in white ball domestic cricket when they are not on national duty? If this doesn't apply to all, then Indian cricket won't achieve the desired results.
Former Indian cricketer Irfan Pathan is questioning the persistence and patience that he feels the board seems to be showing Hardik Pandya in particular. Speaking of whom, he has resumed cricket, is playing a T20 tournament in the Indian city of Mumbai. To get his rhythm ahead of, yes, you guessed it, the Indian Premier League. The one thing that stands out, though, is the fact that the bowlers, the fast bowlers contract, it's something new and does bode well for the future of Indian cricket. It's an art that is most rigorous. Fast bowling can take a toll on the body and goes to show that the BCCI here is keen to invest on young cricketers, young fast bowlers like Umran Malik, Akash Deep and Yash Dayal to stay on track, help them stay on track and of course help them keep improving. Reports have also now emerged of key meetings among the top brass to make some radical changes. The main agenda, increase match fees for Test cricket. That's a massive discussion and a step towards really shining the spotlight on Test cricket sharply, especially in the moments where the fast-paced T20 world is taking over and taking charge. The fact that these meetings are happening, these thoughts are floating around, is a great sign. It shows that the most powerful board in the world is putting its clout behind what needs oxygen support, Test cricket. Despite the fact that T20 is the money spinner, it is the golden goose, but BCCI seems to be displaying great foresight not to kill the OG, because there's a place for every product of the sport. Reports say there are talks of giving special bonuses to players who do not miss a single test in a calendar year. That ought to be great incentive as well to the players. And this is where talents first emerged, and this is the format that fuels passion. And by doing what they can to keep that fire burning, BCCI is showing the rest what the way forward should be. Around the corners of Albert Dock in Liverpool, a massive ship is sailing through Europe. Not just roaring through the coasts of Merseyside, but also wreaking havoc across England, here, there, and everywhere. If you get the drift, the origin land of the famous band The Beatles has found a new rock star. The ship is Liverpool, and the rock star steering it is Jurgen Klopp, guiding the ship perfectly through turbulent waters and sailing it like a pro. The German might be leaving Liverpool at the end of the season, but not without stamping his class, leaving his legacy. He may have cited tiredness as a reason for his departure, but he certainly isn't tired of winning. Victories one after the other, accumulating silverware like it's piece of cake. There is nothing that the German can't do. And unlike his rivals, Manchester City and Manchester United, the Liverpool manager doesn't need to splurge cash to get the job done. Because he believes in nurturing raw talent and taking them to the next level. And the recent results certainly prove so. Jurgen Klopp is showing that when life gives you lemons, you have to make lemonade out of it. Not too long ago, Jurgen Klopp lifted the Carabao Cup after defeating the billion-pound Chelsea side. And Klopp didn't go for the expensive or marquee players to execute his vision. Just a bunch of teenagers walking around the park and the reliable Virgil van Dijk. That was enough. That's the magic of Jurgen Klopp. Klopp has lifted every possible domestic and international trophies at Liverpool. So now he's trying to do the unthinkable. He's saying you do not need the big names to play perfect football. His effect is so much that the same was visible in yesterday's FA Cup victory against Southampton. As many as 14 senior stars were missing on the 28th of February, and that included Mohamed Salah, Darwin Núñez, Alexander-Arnold, Curtis Jones, and of course few other key players. But despite the absences, the vacuum that creates, one thing that remained a constant, Jurgen Klopp. It was teenagers Jayden, Koumas, who scored 3 goals to beat Southampton 3-0, and it set the internet ablaze. These were kids who were showing such calmness and precision, that too under pressure, and were delivering in a big knockout situation. With this win, Liverpool is set to face Manchester United in the quarterfinals of the FA Cup. That's set to take place on the 16th of March. Even with so many injuries, Liverpool looks like a solid side to try and even halt. Liverpool are still in the hunt for Premier League, Europa League and the FA Cup titles. And imagine if academy graduates are doing such damage, what would happen when some of the senior pros return? I can't quite imagine. It's the Jurgen Klopp magic, that Midas touch, that continues to roar through Anfield. The German has instilled faith not just in his players, but in the fans too. During the Southampton match, fans were singing, "We haven't won a trophy since Sunday afternoon." Imagine Anfield at its peak singing that song loud for everyone to hear. No wonder the Southampton side looked deflated and out of sorts. It's the trust Klopp has instilled, and it's still all building up to something very, very significant. Liverpool are contesting for 3 more trophies, as we've said. It could be a hectic final few months for Klopp before he takes a break from football. So many fixtures coming in so quickly, one after the other. No wonder the German feels he's ready for a break. But till then, his thoughts are here in this moment, because even on the field, you can see a charged up Jurgen Klopp loving his side's performance, reveling in the way his young players are giving back the faith that he's put in them. You see a Jurgen Klopp that is completely focused, intent on what his side is doing. And this is not just about the results, we can all see that. He's leaving a mantra behind. He's creating a culture that is sure to live on even after he walks out. The German is leaving a strong bunch of academy players who are going to play fearless football, and this is all translating to some supreme level confidence in the side. It would take something exceptional, from what I see, from other Premier League clubs to go past this legacy, this side, and this Jurgen Klopp-inspired Liverpool machine. Oil reserves, Islamic values, Mecca and Medina, and even the famous sweet treat, the dates. These few things come to mind when we speak of Saudi Arabia. But post-2020, Saudi's Public Investment Fund, or the PIF, has done the unimaginable. It has made one more addition to the list, sports. Not one particular sport, but sports in general. A few years back, we would have never associated Saudi as a potential sports powerhouse. But in 2024 now, we're in the beginning of this year, they are proving everyone wrong. First it was Formula 1, then came football, golf afterwards, and now it's tennis. You see the chronology here, targeting all mainstream and global sporting disciplines. Because if you can attract Cristiano Ronaldo, isn't it time to attract Rafael Nadal and Novak Djokovic? Oh wait, they already did that. So then what's new? Saudi has now inked a multi-year strategy partnership with top-tier tennis tour ATP. This is Saudi's latest quest to get into men's tennis.
Saudi Arabia is slowly but gradually stepping up its game when it comes to acquiring and promoting sports and projecting its image as a sporting country. Talk of any global sport and you'll see a massive Saudi influence in it. In certain disciplines, it might just be restricted to funding, but in others, it has more or less come down to conquering. And the latest venture is tennis. Saudi has been eyeing the acquisition for a while now, so what we're about to tell you is just the beginning. The ATP, or the Association of Tennis Professionals, and Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund, or the PIF, have announced a new multi-year strategic partnership on February 28th. This deal will make PIF the official naming partner of the ATP rankings. That's just one aspect. There's lots more. The year-end ATP World No. 1 will also be presented by the PIF at the ATP Finals in Turin this November. The PIF will also have on-court branding at major ATP 1000 events. That's a huge step towards cementing this relationship and taking it to the next level. ATP CEO Massimo Calvelli, speaking on the matter, said, "Our strategic partnership with PIF marks a major moment for tennis. It's a shared commitment to propel the future of the sport. With PIF's dedication to the next generation, fostering innovation and creating opportunities for all, the stage is set for a transformative new period of progress." The partnership surely marks the Saudi influence in tennis. But unlike golf, where Saudi has their own Live Golf tournament, the current partnership won't impact the existing order of ATP tournaments. This also doesn't guarantee Saudi an ATP tournament of its own yet, at least not just yet. Hosting their own ATP 1000 tournament is a massive dream that Saudi has made clear it would like to stage at some point. This investment is clearly a good place to start. Speaking on the investment, Grand Slam winner Andy Murray raised a valid point.
Obviously, there's going to be a lot of money coming in, but I hope that that's not just coming into the top of the game. I hope that there's a plan in place for the grassroots of the sport down the future levels, the junior events, investing in that level to show there's a real care for the sport and the future of the sport.
We don't know the extent of this partnership, but Saudi's vision is not micro. They are only looking at the top layer and the trappings that can make sports big in Saudi. This isn't the first move Saudi has made to crawl its way into tennis. Earlier, Rafael Nadal was made the ambassador of the Saudi Tennis Federation. Nadal signed an agreement to promote the development of the sport, and most recently, Saudi announced the Six Kings Slam tournament. The tournament, which is set to take place in October, will feature 5 Grand Slam winners headed by Novak Djokovic and Rafael Nadal. And the WTA Women's Tennis Tour is also in negotiations to partner with Saudi Arabia. The negotiation includes possibly placing its season-ending WTA finals there. This continued to face a lot of backlash from fans and former players. When the first Saudi Arabia Grand Prix took place in 2021, not many expected the impact or even the vision this country would possess in the coming years. A lot of criticism followed on the grounds of human rights abuses. Many even deemed it sports washing, and a few others called it oil money influx. But that doesn't bother Saudi. It continues to mark its footprints in every sport. People have been talking and have continued to make allegations. But Saudi isn't one to pay any heed at all. They made a strong statement attracting football's big guns. And with its latest investment deal with ATP, the kingdom has made it clear it won't stop, and this is just the beginning.
It's time for Last Serve. The flavour of the season once again seems to be the French footballer Kylian Mbappe. If it's not about when he will sign on that dotted line to join Real Madrid, then it's certainly about Mbappe rubbing shoulders with the who's who in the political world. French President Emmanuel Macron held a state dinner, and a key invitee to that was Kylian Mbappe. That wraps up this edition of First Sports. I'll see you again tomorrow with some more fresh perspectives. Till then, you take care. Goodbye.